Welcome to this YouTube video. In this video, I'm going to talk about why your ads stop working at scale and what actually replaces your ads. So this is why ROAS quietly dies between 1 and 5 million euros per year in revenue, and what's actually happening under the hood, and the funnel architecture that brands scale past and use instead. So I'm going to tell exactly why ROAS quietly dies between 1 and 5 million euros, what's actually happening under the hood, and the funnel that big brands that are scaling past it use instead. So you didn't hit an ad problem at this point, you actually hit a funnel problem. And most brands that hit a wall between 1 and 5 million euros in revenue, well, same budget, same creative, ROAS just slowly dies. And everyone, they kind of blame the iOS update back then when that was the thing. Now people blame the algorithm or the Andromeda update, for example, or their agency. But the real reason is actually simpler and almost nobody talks about it. So that's why I'm going to talk about it in this video today. So all of this is based on 5 years of experience, more than 100 million euros in revenue for the clients at my agency, Complex Solutions, and also through the brands that I've built and scaled over the past few years, some of them SoSleep and Nordic Play Company. So if we just take a look at our Business Manager, these are numbers from our Business Manager for the past 2 years for both our own clients and our own brands. And you can see we've almost spent 10 million euros for the past 2 years while making a total revenue of 121 million euros through Meta Ads alone. So it's not because we haven't tested this out. We've tested this extensively and we've spent a lot of money on it, and we've also generated a lot of revenue for our own e-commerce brands and our clients. Now, the first problem, you've run out of first contact buyers, and at scale you start reaching the same people repeatedly. In some smaller countries this happened way faster, whereas compared to the US, you will see this when you begin to run with some pretty serious budgets. But at some point, more spend doesn't fix this. It actually accelerates it. You've exhausted everyone who buys after seeing an ad once. First of all, we have to look at the daily frequency. So if your daily frequency is above 1.15, then at that point you're basically just recycling your audience. So what's your daily frequency? Once it drifts above 1.15, the same people are seeing your ads over and over again, and the fatigue goes up, the CVR goes down, and the CPA rises. And the reason that we want to watch our daily frequency is because when it begins to rise, more spends actually accelerates it, because we're pouring budget into a saturated audience, and that speeds up burnout. So you're buying the same impressions at a higher price. And this is a very, very important thing to understand, is that when you have your top funnel and the daily frequency goes above 1.15, then in my opinion, you're just recycling the same audience. You want to make sure that at least 85% of the people that are seeing your ads on a daily basis in your top funnel are new people. We don't want to have a top funnel where it's only 50% of the people that are seeing it for the first time or are seeing it that day, for example. So if we have a daily frequency of 1.5, well, it means that every second person is seeing the ad twice that day, which is not ideal when we want to reach new people. So the shift is basically we want to unlock new cold audiences. And the old funnel, which you've probably been running when you have this problem, or when you begin to feel like you've saturated or you just can't scale more because it bleeds your ROAS or it leads to a lower ROAS, is that you're basically sending people straight to a product page. So the funnel looks like this: add to product page. And it works while you still have people who buy on first contact, and it stops the moment you've actually saturated them. So the new funnel that a lot of the bigger brands are beginning to use is add to education to product page. So we have our regular ads, we lead them to education and then to the product page instead. And the education steps warms up the cold traffic that's already been hit by your ads. And it also allows us to create angles towards audiences that we haven't been able to target up until this point. It also handles objections that the ad can no longer do alone. If we just take a look at the IM8 example. So IM8 is one of the fastest growing supplement brands right now, co-founded by David Beckham. If you haven't already heard of them, you'll probably begin to see their ads after this video. They already have more than 700,000 purchases in a very short amount of time. And they don't send cold traffic to a product page. They actually send it to a listicle instead. And I'm going to show you the page in just a moment. One thing that is very important here, it reads like an article and not like an ad. It handles every objection before the visitor even sees the price. Clinical proof, doctor credibility, customer stories, ingredient breakdown, all of it before you actually see the buy button. And by the time someone hits the page, they've already made the decision basically. So let me open up the page right here. So this is one of the ads that they're running cold traffic to. 6 reasons people say Essential Pro gave them back the energy and clarity they thought were gone for good. And as you can see, this is also this can also be used as a retargeting ad. But then they basically just begin to list the reasons why their customers are happy with the product. So here people are not feeling like they're being sold the product like buy. Here they feel like, okay, what are other people experiencing with the product? Plus it's an easy way for them to explain more details about the product, because it's not just a very short product page where you can't have all of these things on. So when running through this, they just have a lot of different and good stuff here. They have a lot of reasons why you should also care if you're already in the market for a product like this, especially if you're comparing to other companies that are selling supplements like they're doing. Then this landing page will probably convince you to choose their brand compared to other people that are just sending you directly to a product page straight from a static ad. So if we go down, then down here we see the offer, but it's not at the top. It's only at the bottom here. And then of course they have other things here. They have a comparisons page or a section, trusted by athletes, doctors, and everyday performers. So they have a lot of social proof while also explaining everything about the product in detail. So that's one of the things that I want to show you. And the reason that this actually works is that cold audiences then need more than 3 seconds of a video to convert, especially if you're past the people that are ready to buy. So a listicle gives them context, builds belief, and handles objections. So you're not interrupting anymore, you're actually just educating them. And warm traffic converts at a completely different rate than cold. So context, the reader understands the category before they're asked to buy. They have a belief, or you make a belief in their persona, that proof, credibility, and stories replace trust that you can fit in an ad. Objection handling, so price, efficiency, fit already answered. Warmer traffic, the buyer arrives on the product page, decided, not discovering. Very, very important piece of point, or a very important point here. So what does it actually look like in practice? There are 2 formats that do the heavy lifting. Neither feels like advertising, and that's kind of the entire point of this. We have the first one, a listicle, that can be X reasons why people are switching to, and then your product category. You don't necessarily have to do it on a specific product, but can just be the category. Because this feels like a curated article, works because the reader engages with it as content and not as a sales page. The second format is an advertorial, almost like an editorial style article that reads like content and sells like an ad. So the narrative does the convincing while the reader forgets they're actually being marketed to. This will usually be a personal story, or it will be wrote or written as a personal story that is then convincing the reader to buy the product as well. So who uses this? Basically every major e-com brand doing more than 10 million euros a year runs some version of this. And it's very important for me to say this is not a hack or a new tactic. This is a funnel decision. And most brands below 5 million euros have never even heard of it because it isn't talked about at that level. But it's something that you definitely have to implement if you want to unlock new audiences that you haven't been able to convert before. And the result is lower customer acquisition cost on audiences you've already burned or haven't even discovered yet. It's going to have a higher CVR because traffic arrives educated, and it unlocks scale beyond what sending traffic straight to a product page will ever allow at that point. So With that said, if you're hitting a wall right now, then I'd like to find out where that ceiling is actually coming from. So it might be flat ROAS, rising frequency, or the same creatives are not working. So these are one of the first things that we actually implement for our new clients. If they're at a level where it makes sense, then we go in and create listicles and inventorials that actually allows us to scale faster and more cheaper than if we're just going to continue with the same ads or the same ad formats that have already been running for a long time. So click the link in the description of this video and you'll be able to book a call with me or my partner, and we'll go through exactly some examples of listicles we've created for our current clients, but also if it makes sense for you to explore listicles or editorials at the point where you're at right now. Without further ado, have a great rest of your day.